is it time to start worrying about Richarlison? Obviously, £60 million signing in the summer. We all got quite excited when we did sign him. Not one Premier League goal as of yet. Been pushed out to the left wing, pushed out to the right wing. Finally got his first start as a starting striker last night. And by all accounts, he was pretty terrible, to be honest. So is it time to start worrying, Jamie?
No, for me, look, I think the treatment of Richarlison has been really poor this season, to be honest. I think he's had the opportunities to start. You've got Heung-min Son, who's been struggling out on that left-hand side. Conte, right, so as much as we have, berated Daniel Levy, and rightfully so, he gave Conte a £60 million backup player, or this guy who's going to come in and be able to rotate. And Conte just hasn't used him. He's had these sporadic minutes where he's coming in and out of the team. And I just think, as I said earlier, I just think you're never going to be able to build any sort of confidence, any continuity in your game. You're never going to be able to sort of build any rhythm. And just coming in and out of the team, I think it's such a difficult role for him to play. So I do feel sorry for him from that perspective. Obviously, you would like to see, even, regardless of that, something. But I do kind of blame Conte for it a little bit. He's been given that striker, and he's just really not used him very well. So I feel pretty sorry for him, the treatment that he's been given. Yes, of course, he is a multi-million-pound footballer, so you shouldn't have to feel sorry for him. He should be getting the job done. But look, I still think he's a real person. These athletes, they're still humans, and I just think the way that he has been treated has been pretty poor. So yeah, as much as his performances have not been great, I think that the way that he has been used in the squad has been really disappointing. And I think Conte's got to get better out of him. I think as well, Conte should be coaching him. And I think we know that Conte is maybe not someone that will coach players and improve them individually. And that's another kind of concern I have a little bit with Conte. As much as I do love him, I think he's a brilliant coach in terms of coaching fantastic teams. I think as an individual, in terms of improving players, he doesn't quite do that. So been given a £60 million striker. He's not really used him. And I do feel sorry for Richarlison a little bit.
Yeah, look, I kind of look at it from two ways. I think that when you're looking at Richarlison, I do feel for him, like you say, because he hasn't got enough game time, especially in his favoured position. When he first came, he was pushed out to the right, which is probably the weakest of his three positions with left wing and striker. He's only played one game at striker away at Sheffield United last night, and he's only now had consistent starts in the Premier League as well. So I think we are doing Richarlison a bit of a disservice, but on the other hand, you have to take your chances when they come your way. And he hasn't done that. And time again, we're seeing carbon copy performances from Richarlison that's nowhere near good enough. And like his best performances we're seeing in the Premier League, the best things that we can say about it is, he's given the opposition a hard time. He's backing into them. He's being physical with them. But nothing that we want to see from. I mean, we want to see that, but we don't see any attacking output from him. And he's supposed to be a winger/striker, which is nowhere near good enough. So you need to take your chances when they come to you. And he's a Premier League player with Premier League experience for many years now, starting striker for Brazil. You look at Leandro Trossard that's come in at Brighton. He's come in and straight away hit the ground running, taking the chances as soon as he's got them. Why aren't we seeing that from Richarlison? Brian?
What can I say? I mean, first of all, like I said, we saw Richarlison, what he does for Brazil during the World Cup. Scoring bangers, interchanging with play, having a real impact on the game. And then obviously we all saw that shot yesterday that almost went out for a throw-in. I mean, that was just night and day. Like you've all said, we have been doing him a disservice. He had an injury run as well. But you got to remember, Ben, when he first came, he started playing on the left as a sub coming on for Son. And when he was doing the kick-ups at Forest, and then when he came on against Fulham, he was having such an impact. It was like, do you know what? There is genuine competition on that left side now. If Sonny isn't on form, not little did we know what was going to happen. It looks like we found someone that can do it. But Sonny has had a woeful season. Let's be serious. An absolutely horrific season. But he still plays. How does that make Richarlison feel? And then when Kulusevski gets injured, it's like, right, Richarlison, we're going to play you in your worst position. I still think there's a player in him. But I am, with the help of Simeon, who brainwashed me in June. I always give him the credit or the grief for that. Whichever way you want to look at it. I still think there's a player in there, but this is, like you said, we're now into March, and this is his most consistent running games. And we've asked him twice to play on the left, once in the centre, but he should have got off the mark in the Premier League by now. He's had it, like you said, Ben. When you get these opportunities, you've got to take them. If they were in Brazil shirts, you know he's scoring. All right, he's got Neymar, Vinicius Jr. and all that around him. But like you said as well, he's been in England a good few years now. There's no problem with the language. There's no problem with getting used to the climate or the culture, everything here. So he's got to be take responsibility and be held accountable as well. But he needs to do something. He needs to take his chances, and we need to say, right, you're going to play for X, Y, Z amount of games, and you're playing here. Start filling your boots up. Don't worry about the shithousery. Put the ball in the back of the net.
Yes.
Sim?
Well, as president of the Richarlison fan club, I'm always going to back my boy. I'm always going to give him the fairest assessment.
Sexual fan club.
Come on, but look, I even have to say, like, as much as I'm still fully believe Richarlison's a quality player, and I was a big fan of his signing, and I really believe it was necessary, and I really believe he could be a very good player for us. I'm slightly concerned, I have to say, with what he has shown when he has been given the opportunity. I think he has had high moments. Like, I thought when we played at home to Fulham, I thought he was excellent. He looked really bright. I remember he hit the post with an amazing volley. He was like involved. Premier League start, wasn't it? And might have been, but I thought he was brilliant in that game. But we haven't kind of seen that level of performance consistently when he has been given a chance, and that has been a bit of a worry. He hasn't been able to impact games in the final third anywhere near as much as I would like him to with a player of his amount of quality. And I do think he's frustrated a lot of people with his poor first touch, and sometimes his decision making, and his passing as well is very loose, lack of care. Sometimes he just like passes it off without really thinking, and a lot of the time it doesn't come off for him, and that's got to be a bit frustrating. But you got to remember, first of all, he's had, I think, 2 periods where he's had injuries. Just before the World Cup, he had a poor, I think, hamstring injury, which kept him out for a month or so. And then at the World Cup, he picked up an injury, and that ruled him out for a bit as well. So that obviously has taken time to recover from. As you say, he's been playing in his least favoured position more often than not, although we've seen him on the left recently. But again, a player like Richarlison, when you're used to being the main man at a team like Everton, everything was going through him pretty much. He was playing every game. He felt that love from the fan base as well. Not to say that I don't think he's been welcomed at Tottenham, because I do think he has been, but at Everton he was absolutely adored, and they worshipped him a bit, and they really he bought into that, and he was the main man there, playing every game. And at Tottenham it's different. He's been in and out the team. A lot of fans have been undecided of him. A lot of fans think we overpaid for him and things like that. So all of a sudden he's got to win fans over as well, and that has got to take its toll. You got to remember, Heung-min Son had a very difficult first season at Tottenham. He very nearly left when it came to the summer. He wanted out, and Poch had to convince him to stay. So a lot of the times, first seasons can be quite difficult at new clubs for whatever reason, especially when you have a World Cup in the middle of it and injuries, and you're not played your favourite position. But when he gets a chance like yesterday, I know this is his first game for Tottenham specifically in a number 9 position, but when you get a chance to lead the line, you just got to show more than what he did. You got to fight more. I felt like he was bullied way too easy for someone of Richarlison's physicality. He was so anonymous in the game yesterday, and the only time he had 2 shots, one of them he blows over the bar from a tight angle, which he was unlikely to score from. The other chance, he was on the edge of the D, and he put it near the corner flag. He has to be more involved. He has to be shown for the ball a bit more. He has to show a bit more ability to retain it and show a bit more of his physicality in that position. And maybe that comes with time and with rhythm. So maybe you've got to give him a bit of, if he's going to play that role more regularly, you've got to give him a pass a bit. But I am a bit concerned with the lack of quality in the final third he has shown when given the opportunity, especially as when he first came, he was actually showing more, and it seemed to have been decreasing, and that's a bit of a worry as well. But I'm still confident that he's going to, if you give him the more game time, the better he will be, I'm hoping, and that he can still be a very good player for us. And I still think he's a very good player in there, and I think he's shown that more than enough times in the Premier League and at international level. but you can't, like, I can't defend like the quality he's showing, because when you buy a player for 60 million, like his first touch is atrocious. I'm sorry, he's got to be better than what he's showing. That has got to be a worry. So he's got to improve on those aspects. But if he does, there's a very good player in there.
Yeah.
Are you worried about him?
Am I worried? I am worried about him. I am really worried about him, because when you're looking at the profile of player that we brought in, bundles of Premier League experience, international striker. You know, he knows the Premier League inside out, and we're just not seeing a 60 million pound player at the moment, regardless of how much minutes he's getting, regardless of whether he's being played on the right, left, or in the middle. It's pretty much carbon copy performances, whatever position he plays. So I'm really worried about Richarlison. I mean, I wasn't the biggest Richarlison fan before he joined Spurs when he was at Everton, and I did get pulled into the bandwagon just before we signed him. So, I mean, I'm willing to give him all the time in the world to really turn this around, but I am very much starting to worry. And when you bring up players like Heung-min Son and Luka Modric and these kind of players who struggled in their first season, none of these players had Premier League experience before they joined us. I mean, the only player I can remember with a lot of Premier League experience that struggled when they joined us and turned it around is Moussa Sissoko, really. I can't really think of anyone else. I mean, you've probably got a better memory than me. You can think of one. But
Moussa Dembele, maybe?
Moussa Dembele, I mean, for me, a player like Richarlison, if you're going to buy him for 60 million, you're buying him for 60 million because of the Premier League experience and because you think he can come in and hit the ground running. And he hasn't done that, in my opinion.
Yep.
That's true. But doesn't mean just because if he has a bad first season, then does turn around, it's a waste of money. Yeah.
No, like I said, I'm willing to give him the time. I'm willing to give him the time, but right now I am starting to worry. Anything from you, Jamie?
No, I just think we've all kind of listed reasons there why maybe he has struggled. You know, I think that was an interesting point about the injuries. He has been very unfortunate with injuries. I think, you know, we've seen him suffer 2 or 3 fairly big injuries, and they have been muscular ones. And I think when you suffer muscular ones, you can almost lose a bit of confidence in yourself. You know, you don't want to kind of exert yourself, so you suffer a relapse of that injury. So that is a difficulty. Then, of course, I think it was Brian you mentioned about him being played out of position as well, being stuck up on the right-hand side. You know, when you're playing out of position, it's just very difficult to give your best. And then, of course, we mentioned with the lack of minutes. So, you know, there's 3 big reasons there why potentially he has struggled. But I think you all made the point as well that £60 million, he has to be doing better. So I'm very mixed on him, but I think we all kind of agreed that he deserves a bit more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the other frustrating thing about it is I love how Spurs fans come up with these songs, and I loved Christian. How we got a song out of Agadoo was something quite mind blowing to me. And now that we've got the do-wah diddy-diddy-dum, I fucking love that song. I want to hear that going on for ages, like when we're singing Harry Kane or whatever song. It's such a good chant, and we're not getting to sing it. It's one of those real upbeat, get the whole place going, and we're just not being able to sing it.
Yeah.
It's like we only do it if he just poleaxes someone. It's like, there's Richarlison, let's sing his song.
I think he gets another start on the weekend.
Yeah,
I reckon because Son
I think we go
much.
unchanged from the back in the Premier League games. Next game.
Yeah.
I reckon he can.
Agree.
But look, I think we'll leave it there, guys. But thank you, boys, so much for coming on, Jamie and Brian. We'll start with Brian. Any interesting shows on Tottenham on Tour coming up this week?
Yeah, we're going to be doing a few things over the weekend. Hopefully, I'm after this just about to record tomorrow's episode of Cockerel Doodle Doo. So that'll be going out around 8:30, 9 o'clock tomorrow. And there should be a few shows next week. And hopefully there'll be a happy show because we've just beaten Wolves. Hopefully. Let's hope.
Wouldn't bet on it.
I'm not betting on it.
I wouldn't bet against it either.
Yeah, true. But Brian, you have to fully give up on Tottenham before they start winning again. So you have to be fully convinced we're going to lose.
Okay, so we're gonna get pummeled. We're gonna get pummeled, absolutely annihilated.
And Jamie, where can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, I think my @'s on screen there on Twitter. I think at the moment we're just on Twitter at the moment, so yeah, make sure to go and follow that if you want to. But boys, thank you very much for having me on. Absolute pleasure. It's really strange kind of watching you guys and having to respond because usually I'm just watching the videos, loving them. So absolute pleasure to be on.
Thanks
Big
for
up to you,
coming on,
JB.
and yeah, we'll definitely make sure to do it again sometime soon. But that brings an end to the panel show today. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll see you all tomorrow. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.